And it's down the road we go. It's good to see you. It's Thursday, the 26th day of March 2020. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz. Thanks for starting your day with us here on your local TV station. It is not a normal time, as we all know by now. And if your day-to-day life has not been interrupted or disrupted or changed in any significant way, it will probably certainly beginning today as the non-essential businesses are now being closed to combat the coronavirus pandemic. So things have changed. Things have changed here. A little shop talk. A lot of my coworkers were given the option to work at home, and they have chosen to do so. So we're kind of working our way through with a bit of a skeletal in-house staff. Everybody is working at home. Everybody who's working at home is working hard. We just don't see them around the office much. It's strange times indeed. And for me, couple of personal items. Number one, I really need a haircut, and I can't get one, and I won't be able to get one for quite some time. I'm not going to cut my own hair. So Brad, if you're watching, can't wait to see you again so I can get this crazy mane of mine taken care of. And of course, today is one of those days that I circle on the calendar every year. Today was supposed to be the first day of the baseball season. It was supposed to be opening day. The Mariners was supposed to be hosting the Texas Rangers this afternoon at T-Mobile Park. It's not going to happen. It is the times that we live in. We do have some more local COVID-19 news to get to. There's a lot of news to get to. That's not even COVID related, but we have some of that as well. As far as your forecast is concerned, it's a beautiful morning. It's chilly. It's only 34 degrees. It was kind of a cool, raw day yesterday, and we're going to in for some sunshine this morning. Clouds increase later on today, so we get a bit of a dry break. There's just a really weak high pressure ridge. It's just flat, and it's just going to kind of come and go. It's going to give us some sunshine this morning and into the afternoon hours, but by the end of the day today, it'll be fairly cloudy, and then we're in for some unsettled, breezy, showery conditions into the weekend. If you haven't heard yet, they decided to open the Sage Hills Trails in the foothills of Wenatchee a week early. They opened officially yesterday. I had a chance to talk via Skype, because Skype is going to be our new normal around here for conversations, trying to limit that one-on-one 6-foot contact kind of a thing. We're trying to observe that as best as we possibly can. I had a chance to talk to Hanne Beener. She is the Trails Program Manager for the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust, talking about the do's and don'ts of trail use, specifically the Sage Hills Trails, which is now open. We hope it stays open. We hope people behave. That conversation with Hanne coming up in the back half of the hour. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras. We should be in for some beautiful shots this morning as the sun is getting the job done. Sun's been up for about 25 minutes now. Came up at 6:38 this morning. Sunset tonight 7:10. That's 12 hours and 32 minutes of daylight. As I mentioned, it's chilly. It's only 34 degrees. We only got to 45 on Wednesday. It was a raw day. Our normal high would be 58, so we were 13 degrees below normal for our afternoon high yesterday. Wednesday's low was 34. A little chilly. Our normal low around this time of the year is 38 degrees. And again today, mainly dry. Sunshine for the most part. Clouds thicken up later on this afternoon. Forecast details are coming up. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. Camera number 2. We are off to see Stamen Flats. Is that correct, Megan? That's Hose Landing. Oh, thank you very much. I've got Stamen Flats is on the other side of the river. Hose Landing, looking over to beautiful Aniat. Good morning, Aniat. Good to see you. Can't quite see where the river, where the Aniat River empties into the Columbia. So that's the Hose Landing Tower site. I went up there once a couple of years ago with one of the Sky-Fi crews. That is a shall I say, a interesting drive to get to the Hose Landing site. I don't envy those guys. It's a white knuckle drive to get up to that spot, but that's how these cameras work. And that's how the Sky-Fi system works. The higher up, the better off, because it's all line of sight. You got to be able to see the towers for Sky-Fi to work. And Sky-Fi is a cool thing. And so now of course, there's a lot of people are shut in with various stay-at-home orders and procedures, and you're stuck online. If you don't have fiber to your house, Sky-Fi will take care of that, because we got towers. There's local telehouse towers, like 80 or 85 towers all over north central Washington, all over the Wenatchee Valley, all over the Columbia Basin. So you don't need fiber run to your house to get high-speed internet. That's a cool deal. And that's where these cameras are located, on Sky-Fi towers. Camera number 3. A slow dissolve to, I don't know, is that Two Rivers? No, that's Lake Wenatchee. That would be the the Two Rivers camera. That looks ominous, doesn't it? Somewhere down there is Lake Wenatchee, full of water. The Two Rivers camera is right at the very head of Lake Wenatchee on a huge tower. It's about 300 feet up in the air, so we can see all of Lake Wenatchee, except right now, it looks like they got a few more clouds up there than we have here in the Wenatchee Valley. Clouds are coming, as I mentioned before. Camera number 4. Hello to, is that Braze? What am I looking at? That's Black Mountain. I should have noticed that. Somewhere down there is Leavenworth. Good morning to our friends in Black Mountain. I don't know if anybody who actually lives at the top of Black Mountain. That would be a heck of a drive and not particularly easy to plow your driveway in the dead of winter. Black Mountain is high above the Peshastin area, so what we're looking down on is essentially the Leavenworth area and the snow-peaked Cascades on this Thursday morning. So that's our tour around north central Washington as we roll through on this Thursday. All right, Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives your home a hug. Here's your forecast. Again, lots of sunshine today. Beautiful morning. That's going to change as the clouds begin to roll in. We'll have increasing clouds as the day progresses. 53 or so for the afternoon high. It sounds about right. Again, it's 34 now, so it's going to take us a little while to climb that ladder. Mostly cloudy tonight, 36 for the overnight low. No rain in the forecast, although a little windy today. West wind today, 6 to 13 miles an hour. Northwest wind tonight, 6 to 10 miles an hour. Friday, lots of clouds as we begin to return to a period of, breezy, showery weather as the trough begins to come through. We're looking at a high of about 56 or 57 with lots of clouds. No rain on Friday, just lots of clouds. Sun's taking, as you can see, quite a bit of time off. Friday night, partly cloudy, 38 for the overnight low. Partly sunny Saturday, high of about 59 degrees, but we do have a chance of some light rain on Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, that chance of rain goes from 30% to 40%. Lots of clouds, 40 for the overnight low. We wrap up the weekend Sunday under slight chance of some light rain, mixture of clouds and sun. Whoa, what happened there? Trust me on that one. The forecast is still pretty accurate. You just can't see it. There we go. It's back again. So Sunday, pick up where we left off. Partly sunny, high of about 57, 58. Can't rule out a raindrop on Sunday. If we get rain on Sunday, it would be on Sunday morning. Most of these highs that you see are at or slightly below normal for the end of March and early April, because it is towards the end of March and early April. Back at it on Monday, mostly cloudy, about 58 degrees, slight chance of rain there. And then we have next chance of quite a bit of sunshine isn't until Wednesday of next week. So if you want sunshine, it's this morning, and then we'll have pockets of it on Saturday and Sunday. But for the most part, it'll be more clouds than sun, the occasional passing raindrop, and a little breezy at times. Very typical spring weather. Again, it's early spring. We got a long way to go for spring 2020. So that's a look at your forecast. At about 8.5 minutes after the hour, to the passes we go. Courtesy of the Washington State Department of Transportation. You're looking okay. It's snowing on I-90 right now. It's not sticking to the roadway. So there's no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and wet. A couple of patches of slush, and that's all there is to it on I-90, so you're fine. Traction tires are advised on Stevens, although it looks pretty good to me. Just some light snow coming down, snow and slush on the roadway, but I don't make these decisions. The Washington State Patrol does. They do it well, and if they say traction tires are advised, traction tires are advised on Stevens Pass. And this morning on Blewett Pass, you're fine. Scattered clouds up above, no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and dry. Just a little bit of light snow is in the forecast for the mountain passes today. Next significant snowfall is really on Friday. So no snow at all really to speak of today for the Cascades. Tonight, though, 1 to 2 inches of snow possible. 2 to 4 inches of snow is in the forecast for Friday. For Friday night, 1 to 3 inches of snow. Saturday, a couple of inches of snow. Saturday night, 3 to 5 inches of snow expected in the Cascades. And on Sunday, another 2 to 3 inches of snow. So they're going to have intermittent off and on snow showers. Not a significant snow event in the Cascades. The plows should be able to stay ahead of the game. But again, the heaviest snow in the next period going into the weekend would be Friday, when they're expecting 2 to 4 inches of snow. And then again on Saturday night, additional 3 to 5 inches of snow expected in the Cascades. But right now, only Stevens Pass has the traction tire advisory. Just past 10 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break and come back with your Thursday morning news. And as you might imagine, there is a lot of it. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Boating Spring in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. See their full line of Crown Line boats. When you want to escape from reality, make a Crown Line boat your choice of entertainment. Enjoy time with a friend in your socially distant boat. With low interest rates and lower gas prices, now's the time to buy. See Crown Line boats at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special. Just about 12 minutes after the hour, clear skies, 34 degrees. The sun's not going to last. We'll have clouds arriving later on this afternoon. By the time the sun goes down past 7 o'clock, it'll be mostly cloudy skies, and then it'll be mostly cloudy skies beginning tonight, really lasting all the way through Monday with the occasional sunshine peeking through the clouds. Also perhaps a stray raindrop or two and a little breezy at times. Let's take a look at your news this morning. An Antioch man is freed on a $5,000 bail. He allegedly T-boned a passenger car with a young family inside that car. Then he ran on foot from the scene. This all happened Monday night, according to Wenatchee police. 28-year-old Mario Beener Martinez apparently ignored a red light, crashed his Honda Civic at high speed into a passenger car at the intersection of Ferry and Mission. Among the occupants of that car was a 3-year-old child. Martinez then allegedly ran from the site. He was picked up by police later on South Wenatchee Avenue. The other driver was treated for a neck injury. Martinez will be arraigned April 6th on charges of hit and run. A 72-year-old Chelan resident is in jail after a DNA test allegedly tied him to a sexual assault that occurred 8 months ago. Sheriff's deputies arrested Richard Allen Swain on Monday after the State Patrol Crime Lab said they found his genetic material on a 31-year-old victim. Deputies say the woman became intoxicated. Back in July of last year, Swain found her unconscious on his front porch. There, police believe he assaulted her while she was defenseless. DNA test results from that July incident didn't come back from the crime lab until last Friday. Sheriff's deputies say a Malaga man stole 14 expensive heavy-duty batteries from a construction site and then offered to sell them online to an undercover police buyer. His name, Wade Ryan Hawkins, 28 years old. He faces possible charges of theft, trespassing, and trafficking in stolen property. The batteries, which were reported stolen on a Tuesday from a job site on Clockham Road, they can cost up to $260 apiece. Deputies say they made arrangements to buy 4 batteries from Hawkins for just $200, and they arrested him Tuesday night after he allegedly made the sale in a Wenatchee parking lot. An East Wenatchee woman arrested during a high-profile drug raid last year, sentenced to 20 months in prison. 22-year-old Noemi Lara had already spent 6 months behind bars since her arrest back on September 4th. That's when Columbia River Drug Task Force members kicked down her door and found an estimated 50 grams of methamphetamine and 20 grams of heroin. She pled guilty this week in Douglas County Superior Court to possession of methamphetamine and keeping a property for drug purposes. Another man arrested in that raid, 27-year-old Jesus Morales Lozano, still awaits trial on similar charges. All right, to COVID-19 news. The latest coronavirus casualties, State and Department of Natural Resources, Parks. Our very own Kyle Montgomery tells us more.
After shutting down its campgrounds over the weekend, the state has now closed all its parks and wildlife areas starting today. The closures were announced following Governor Jay Inslee's stay home, stay healthy order Monday evening in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. The closure includes all state-managed parks, wildlife areas, and water access for at least 2 weeks. Entrance gates will be closed and all services will be suspended. Essential staff will be on site to preserve and protect the sites. The State Department of Natural Resources followed suit today by announcing it's closing its public recreation lands starting Thursday. Lands Commissioner Hillary Franz said DNR staff last weekend saw their trails crowded shoulder to shoulder and there were several large gatherings. DNR manages 1,200 miles of trails and more than 160 recreational sites. Reporting with NCW Life, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
Thank you, Kyle. Confluence Health's nonprofit foundation says they are encouraging donations of personal protective equipment that keeps medical staff safe from the disease. That includes the kind of medical masks you can make at home. The foundation provides directions on how to make such a mask. You can do it using simple cloth, and you can go to their website to learn how to do it. That's confluencehealth.org. Both Confluence and other hospital systems around the area, they also need non-latex gloves. They need N95 respirators. They are in need of gowns, disinfectant wipes, and hand sanitizers. You can call the foundation at 436-6275 to help coordinate donations. Rural Okanagan County reported their first case of coronavirus. This happened on Tuesday. Out of 125 local patients sampled for testing, Okanagan County Public Health says just one has returned positive. The exposed individual is in self-isolation under observation. As of this week, more than 40 tests in Okanagan County are still pending. The Washington State Department of Health reports that as of Wednesday, 111 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed. This is statewide numbers, so the statewide total of COVID-19 cases now are up to 2,580. 132 people have died, the vast majority of those in King County. And that's a look at what's making headlines at 17 minutes after the hour on this Thursday. The news team, some working at home, some working here in the studio, are going to cobble together another newscast for you. It's been a busy few weeks for us. And with a preview of the Thursday evening news, here's the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, the Wenatchee School District is making it even easier to get free lunches. We'll tell you what they're doing. I'll have your complete North Central Washington weather forecast, and from his house, Eric Granstrom will have a look at sports. That and all the day's news coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. We appreciate it. We also appreciate it when you get a hold of us. We've given you a lot of tools to do it, all of them online related. As you know by now, we made the decision on Monday to close our offices and our studios to the general public, so you can't drop by and say hi, but you can still get a hold of us via the World Wide Web. Go to our website, ncwlife.com. You'll see the Contact Us icon on the screen. Fill out the form, push send, we'll get it. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. And if you go to Facebook, give us a big old thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. Go to Facebook, like our page, and then go to Facebook Messenger and drop us a line that way. And we'd love to hear from you, our viewers. And we are endeavoring to keep you in the loop as best as we possibly can on the coronavirus pandemic. 18 minutes after the hour, going to take a break, come back with sports. There's some stuff to talk about. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
My name is Lacey Haggerty, and I am a nurse midwife with Columbia Valley Community Health. I love all aspects of my job because it is a profession that's very committed to empowering women to make decisions in their health care that feel best for them. It's incredibly valuable to me as a midwife that I get to take care of women throughout their whole lifespan. I hope to see you at a future visit because I know you'll love having midwifery care.
I'm Dr. Wayne Latimer. I'm a chiropractic physician. I have postgraduate certifications in both whiplash, trauma and rehab, as well as sports medicine. The location is great. The light and the visibility, the 17-foot ceilings are fantastic. You can go into a lot of clinics, and it's very clinical. People really like the spa environment, so my whole premise was take a spa environment, add the very serious rehab, and give people an enjoyable way to get better over time.
We're back at 20 minutes after the hour in sports. Of course, sports is like basically everything over the last 3 weeks in our personal lives because of what's going on. Everything has changed because of the global pandemic, and the sports world is not immune to that. Of course, seasons have been stopped Seasons have been postponed, postseasons have been out and out canceled, schedules altered, and all we have is a whole bunch of questions. Of course, today was supposed to be opening day of the baseball season. There were games all over North America that will not be played today. The Mariners are supposed to be hosting Texas this afternoon at T-Mobile Park. That, of course, is not happening. In fact, General Manager Jerry DiPoto has told his players to go home and adopt an off-season mentality.
What we've urged the guys is to go where they feel safest, and that is from a health standpoint. And a lot of guys have now they've made their way back to their natural homes or somewhere that they feel safe going. And we told them, you view this as something, where do you feel comfortable for the next 2 months? And then we will reassess. And we don't know where this will go. We told them we may be able to adjust up, and we may be able to, or be forced to adjust down in terms of our expectations. And right now, as I said, our only true concern here is health and well-being throughout. We have our strength coaches have put together a program, resistant fan. Many of our guys are not going to access gyms. And we have built what we think is a very moderate throwing program, and effectively told our guys, we need you to go into off-season mode psychologically, emotionally, and understand that whatever time we get back to playing, you will have time to ramp back up. We're not going to ask guys to go from 0 to 60 at the snap of a finger.
When does Major League Baseball begin? We don't know. They're hoping for maybe late May, maybe June. Again, we have more questions than we do answers. The Wenatchee Apple Sox, in conjunction with the West Coast League, has adopted a message for their fans. Hashtag stay home for baseball. Wenatchee's first-year coach, Ian Sanderson, sent a message to Apple Sox fans everywhere.
Hey, Apple Sox Nation. Just sitting here in timeout in the quarantine in this uncertain time. We just want to touch base and let everybody know that they should stay home, practice social distancing. From the coaching staff and the roster, we're all excited to get up into Wenatchee this summer. We just need everybody to be healthy and out on the field and ready to cheer us on. Go Sox.
The hashtag Stay Home for Baseball campaign is encouraging fans to stay home and see if they can flatten that coronavirus curve. The campaign challenges not only fans, but baseball teams everywhere at all levels to help limit and ultimately stop the spread of COVID-19. Of course, last week the WCL announced that it's planning to start the 2020 season on time. That would be the first week in June. However, the league is still trying to do its part in the short term to ensure that 2020 can proceed as planned. Again, we have more questions than we do answers. School districts across our state hoping to be able to send the kids back to school on Monday, April 27th. Yesterday, we announced what the Big Nine's plans are, their intentions for the spring sports abbreviated schedule. If you missed that, by the way, you can go to our website at ncwlife.com. Basically, they're going to cram in as many games as they can in a short amount of period of time. We heard back from Jeff Carlson, who's the athletic director at Cashmere, in reference to what the Caribou Trail League plans on doing. Carlson told us they're still going over options and schedules. He says they're looking at possibly doing away with district tournaments for baseball, softball, and soccer. Teams will qualify for state right out of their league record. He said that would allow for more league contests. Carlson says they hope to have clarity in the next couple of weeks. Our sports broadcast schedule continues tonight. It's best of classic stuff, boys soccer. We're going to have the Eastmont and Moses Lake game from last April for you to enjoy tonight. Sebastian Maraga and Matt Weisen had the call.
Bit of a ping-pong game. There's Cabrera. Cabrera with some room. Cabrera, right-footed shot. Cabrera, goal, 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 goal! What a beautiful strike by Jorge Cabrera to give Eastmont the lead over the Moses Lake Chiefs, Matt Weisen.
Yeah, fantastic finish there. You can see him cutting to his right, which is one thing I was about ready to say. That position, the number 10 spot, really needs to be setting up the forwards for the shot, and not by dribbling straight at the keeper or straight in. You're killing the space at that point. And here we just saw Jorge cut to the right and open up that angle where a forward can run in behind for the slotted pass. In this case, the angle and a shot opened up. And so Jorge's always looking at the goal, and like any good player does. And he put that away beautifully.
I was pleased with how they play on the field. The only thing that we needed to do was put the game away with the chances that we had, with the opportunities that we produced. That is what was missing, and that is what has been missing throughout the season. Is defensively we're strong, we're able to hold teams off, but to win games you got to score goals, and the games that we've lost is because we don't put those opportunities away. And today was, we managed to put one away, and defensively played well, but we had many other chances that needed to go in and didn't.
Again, you can watch that match between the Wildcats and the Chiefs from back in April. You can watch that tonight at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow begins our Wenatchee Wild Weekend. We're going to rebroadcast 5 games in 3 days. We'll have Wenatchee and Merritt at 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday, we got the Wild and the V's at 2 o'clock at 7 p.m. And then there's 2 more games airing Sunday, Wenatchee and Prince George at 2 o'clock. And then you have the Wild and the Nanaimo Clippers at 7 o'clock. And one more item of business, you can add recreational fishing to the list of things you can't currently do. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife yesterday temporarily closed all fishing and shell fishing as of midnight last night. The closure was until at least 5 o'clock in the afternoon on April 8th. It's the latest closure announcement from the state following Governor Jay Inslee's stay-at-home order in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. So the department said crowds at boat ramps and some fishing sites led to the closure. So you can't keep your tip up until April 8th. It's the times we live in. Those are some of the games that people are not playing on this Thursday, the obscure holiday today. I looked for a purple shirt in my closet. I don't have one, but today is Purple Day, and the idea behind Purple Day is to talk about epilepsy. The idea of Purple Day was initially conceived by Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia. She did this 12 years ago. She struggled with epilepsy, and she wanted people to get talking about and let people who struggle with epilepsy know that they're not alone out there. She also wanted to dispel some of the myths and misconceptions about epilepsy, and the Epilepsy Association of Canada hopped on board, and now Purple Day is everywhere. Around the world, there are about 50 million people who live with epilepsy on a daily basis. About 2 million Americans have epilepsy. About 1% of the world's population struggle with epilepsy. Epilepsy, of course, is a psychological disorder. It's not a disease. All kinds of things can trigger an epileptic seizure. It could be lack of sleep, drugs, stress, flickering screens. We've heard about that. Hormonal changes, not eating, emotional stress, illness, medications, fever, all kinds of trigger mechanisms out there. So if you haven't gotten dressed yet and you're going to work, if you are going to work, wear purple, or wear purple during your whatever little outdoor activities you have planned today. So we can get talking about epilepsy, and that is your obscure holiday. Almost 29 minutes after the hour. Today in history, happy anniversary to the Seattle Metropolitans winning the Stanley Cup. They did it on this date 103 years ago. March 26, 1917, they beat the Montreal Canadiens to win the Stanley Cup. It was a best-of-5 game series. They won it 3-1. They became the first United States team to win the Stanley Cup. It was the first Stanley Cup final to be played in the United States because of travel. You know, remember, this is 103 years ago. Travel wasn't that easy. And Montreal and Seattle are a long way apart. They decided to play all of the games in Seattle, and it was the last Stanley Cup final not to feature any teams from the National Hockey League. Neither the Montreal Canadiens nor the Seattle Metropolitans were members of the NHL. Those two teams would meet again the next year in 1918, but it was canceled because of the influenza outbreak of that year. So the Seattle Metropolitans won the Stanley Cup on this date 103 years ago. They have never won it since. They're not even around anymore. Happy birthday to the driving test. 86 years ago today, March 26, 1934, the United Kingdom became the first country to require people, if they're going to drive an automobile, to be able to prove that they can drive an automobile. So they came up with the driving test. Nobody had ever done this before. Before this, basically, there were still had driver's licenses before today, but you didn't have to show any skill. All you had to do was say, hey, I bought a car, and then you would go down to your local licensing department and get your driver's license because you owned a car. It never occurred to anybody that there's people out there who don't know how to drive who just bought themselves an automobile. That changed on this date with the introduction of the driving test, and now the driving test is pretty much the way it is now everywhere. I'm all for it. when I'm out and about driving around, I want to know that all the other people who are out driving around me can competently operate an automobile. The driver's license test is 86 years old today. And finally, 20 years ago today, there she goes. Stay tuned. Kingdom. It went down. It was imploded 20 years ago today on an early Sunday morning. I miss the Kingdom in a way. Went to a lot of events there. Probably more Mariner games than almost anything else, but I went to some Seahawk games, even some college football. The Cougars played a couple of games in the Kingdom back in the 70s. I remember going to those. Rock and roll concerts, Sounders games. The Kingdom was a multi-purpose stadium and a host of Sonics. I remember going to a bunch of Sonics games as well when I lived in Seattle. The claim to fame for the Kingdom, it is the only arena to host the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, the NBA All-Star Game, and the NFL Pro Bowl. And she went to her demise on this date 20 years ago today. And finally, we have some birthdays for you. The most significant woman in American legal history is 90 years old today, Sandra Day O'Connor, the 91st Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. She is the recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She got that from President Barack Obama 11 years ago. Of course, she left the court back in 2004. Sandra Day O'Connor is now completely retired. She is unfortunately suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's, which is the same disease that claimed her beloved husband. But Sandra Day O'Connor, whose imprint on the American legal system and American culture cannot be underestimated. She's 90 years old today. Happy birthday to Sandra Day O'Connor. Fascinating life story as well. Bob Woodward is 77 years old today, the famous journalist. Of course, he, alongside Carl Bernstein, broke the Watergate story for the Washington Post. And now he's a very well-known author of outstanding books. Bob Woodward is 77 years old today. Steven Tyler, the lead singer of Aerosmith. Steven Tyler is 72 years old today. Somebody should probably tell him. Happy birthday, Steve. It's 33 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. Mike McNaughty has an opinion coming your way. And then, as you probably know by now, they made the announcement yesterday, and the Sage Hills Trails in the Wenatchee foothills is now open. That's a week earlier than normal. And yesterday I had a chance to visit via Skype with Hanne Beener, who is the Trails Program Manager for the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust. We'll talk about the Sage Hills Trails and the do's and the don'ts in this age of social distancing. My conversation with Hanne is coming up as well. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Hi, my name is Blaine Johnson. I'm at Global Elite Motors. We're tied in with Global Car Care down here locally. So we're not your typical car buying experience. Somebody can come down here, take a look at what we have, and if we have the right vehicle for you, we'd be glad to help you out with it. A lot of times we are able to go out and find specific vehicles for somebody so that it fits their needs, their budget, and all the things that you want without you being obligated right away. If you're looking for a good, reliable car, come see me, Blaine Johnson, down at Global Elite Motors.
You want to help others. You need a solid career. You can have both with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, stop by our campus at 595 Grant Road across from Safeway or visit chartercollege.edu.
When you think of Doghouse Motorsports, you might think of motorcycles, but there's a lot more in this house. How about Honda power equipment? From snowblowers to lawnmowers to generators and even water pumps, Honda is the brand that sets the standards. Perhaps you need an ATV or UTV. The Doghouse has the largest selection anywhere. Did we mention watercraft and snowmobiles? And of course, we have motorcycles too. Back it up with terrific customer service, and you have Wenatchee's best motorsports store 5 years running. Isn't it time for you to be in the Doghouse?
How much are you paying for adult, family, or assisted living? Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living offers one-bedroom apartments for one affordable price. Their rates are all-inclusive. No nickel or diming or sudden increases, just one set price. You or your loved one will receive good food and excellent care in a relaxed, home-like environment. Stop on by for a tour to see if the Epladolin family is the right choice for you.
Family-owned and operated Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living in Cashmere. Affordable care.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, okay, this new Gillette commercial, based on their slogan, the best a man could get, that addresses the issues of how we raise our sons. Now, here's my take. Now, what's wrong with teaching our sons not to be bullies and not to harass women? What's wrong with that? Let's face it, for far too long, we have been accepting of certain behaviors from the males in our society, which certainly are not the best a man could be. A real man expresses his strength through gentleness, not by bullying and harassment. And that is the truth. This is Mike Magnotti, and that's not only my opinion, that's reality.
The two hottest pickups in America are at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. First, the Ram 1500 with back-to-back Truck of the Year awards from Motor Trend, and now the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 2020. They call it a luxury sedan with pickup capabilities. Ram is on a roll now with third-generation eco-diesel power. Next up, the Jeep Gladiator, also a 2020 10 Best model based on the new award-winning Jeep Wrangler. It has options and capabilities that no other truck can offer. Two more reasons when it comes to buying a truck: there's no reason to leave town.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Open 7 days a week, Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go, our friendly staff is here to serve you. Reservations recommended for Friday night's prime rib dinner. Call for live music dates. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating has been serving North Central Washington for 34 years. Arctic provides the finest heating and cooling air quality products for residential and commercial customers, along with prompt and professional customer service. Arctic also offers specialty services like custom sheet metal fabrication of ductwork, coil cleaning, as well as planned fall and spring maintenance for the overall well-being of your system. Arctic is available for emergency calls 24/7. Call Arctic Refrigeration and Heating for your heating and cooling needs.
Coming home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today. 509-663-1710.
Dan Kuntz. We could all use some good news now that cabin fever has, well, it's supposed to be gone, and now it's back because the vast majority of people are doing what they're asking them to do, which is self-quarantining and stay away from the general public. But we have some good news. The Sage Hills Trails system, right outside the Wenatchee foothills, normally opens on April 1st, but instead it's open now with some restrictions and some do's and some don'ts. And here to talk about that is the Trails Program Manager for the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust, who is the who is the main entity in keeping care of the trails, and that's Hanne Beener. Hanne, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Good morning. Hello.
And so walk me through the decision process between you folks, the City of Wenatchee, the Chelan County PUD, which is a stakeholder, the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust, you folks, and the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife. You all get together and said, we can do it early, so let's do it early. Talk about that.
Yeah, we had talked about it when we first started getting wind of the trend of social distancing, even before we had a statewide order related to staying at home and social distancing. We've had a couple of compounding factors. We've had a mild winter and an early spring, so we were seeing a lot of illicit trail use anyway. And that meant that there was the potential that the mule deer, who we are closing these trails for in the seasonal closure window, might have already moved to higher elevations because they had forage available at that point. So that means that we were able to talk with WDFW, and they were tracking deer herds and where they were at, and we were able to talk with Chelan County PUD, who has a mandate to manage the 960-acre home water preserve there right in the middle of the Sage Hills for mule deer specifically. And their counts were coming in below average for this time of year, and they felt confident that there was adequate forage at higher elevations, and that by having trail use in that area and in the lower Sage Hills, we wouldn't be negatively impacting the deer herds because they had space to go at a higher elevation. And go ahead.
I was going to say, even though the deer, the experts have agreed that the deer have moved into higher elevations, you still can't go up there quite yet if you want to walk the Sage Hill Trail. You're going to do what you do year after year, Hanne, and that's do it incrementally by elevation, correct?
Correct. Yeah. At this point, I did go up to our Horse Lake Reserve, which is our highest elevation preserve in the Wenatchee Foothills Trail System, and I did that yesterday. And they are drying out, but these trails, as they dry out from winter moisture, there's a lot more fragility. So even rain that normally wouldn't be an issue and would dry out in 24 hours, there's some residual moisture in the trail bed, and so when we get weather fronts that move through, it can lead to, in a case like this spring, where the trail damage that could be caused by people riding or running or using these soft trails, we might not be able to do trail maintenance on these trails because of the other circumstances that we're all dealing with, not being able to have volunteer work parties, not being able to have gatherings of people. So we're really trying to manage this opening such that we don't end up with trail conditions that are negative for folks for the rest of the season. We're really asking people to be mindful of that as they use these trails, that there's less management and less opportunity to maintain infrastructure and trails this year.
We are expecting, we got a little bit of light rain this morning. We are expecting a little bit of intermittent rain, kind of unsettled weather really for the foreseeable future, next 7 or 8 days. If it's raining and the trails are muddy, you just assume people might go up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been our rule of thumb, is if you're leaving tracks that are between a quarter or a half inch deep on the trails, then it's too muddy for you to be out there, and you should find another way to get outside and be responsible with your social distancing at the same time. When we opened the trails this spring, we definitely wanted to add some parameters of social distancing. That's something that we haven't had to do in the past. So we gave some guidelines to the public in that. You can find that on our website, cdlandtrust.org. Wenatchee Valley Tread is another organization that is working hard to help be a resource for trail users on best trail practices in these strange times. With a virus running rampant. So we find that there's a pinch point, right, with trailheads. People come from dispersed locations in their homes, and they end up at a trailhead or a trail access point where it's very easy to be less than 6 feet apart from another person, and then they disperse again onto a trail system. So just be very mindful and cognizant of those trailhead areas being closed. We don't know, we might get an order from a local or even a state government that we need to close trailheads. At this point, that's not what we're doing, but we need people to just be very responsible and cognizant of their spacing and of the requirements at the state level and any from our local health district at those pinch points like trailheads and trail access points.
Earlier today, Hillary Franz announced that the DNR lands, Department of Natural Resources lands, are going to be closed. Does that affect the Sage Hills system at all?
I don't know if it will affect our use, if our use will go up because these DNR lands are closed. And at this point, we did open the trails. There's plenty of other trail systems that have been open already, such as Saddle Rock, Castle Rock, and the Jacobson Preserve in the southern foothills. I'm not sure yet. We are communicating with the city and with other local government officials to make a call on what, if anything, needs to be closed. But our direction is just stay local. If you can walk to a trail system from your house, then maybe that's okay. If you need to drive to a different community to use a trail, you should probably think twice about that. I don't think that is in the spirit of what we're all trying to do collectively here.
I'm assuming because people have got this cabin fever and now it's spring and it's open early, that they're going to be kind of busy as long as weather is related. Are you expecting a lot of people to start hitting the Sage Hills trails in the next couple of days?
Yes, we've already seen greatly increased use on those properties that weren't closed seasonally, such as Saddle Rock and Jacobson. And we think that's due in large part to people not being at work and kids not being in school. So we are glad that there is this community resource for people to be outside, and there's a way to do it responsibly. But like I said, we got to all abide by these guidelines. We're in a unique circumstance here, and we just really all need to do our part to make sure that we don't lose access for any reason, because we're finding that people are not being responsible about getting outside.
We mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, again, we're talking to Hanne Beener, who's the Trails Program Manager for the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust. Hannah, as you mentioned before, they're doing it by elevation, and so the upper elevations of these trails are not open yet. How does a hiker know this is as high up as I can go and I have to turn around at this point? Is it obvious?
We tried our best to make it somewhat obvious. So the lower Sage Hills includes trail access points at the junction of Sage Hills Drive and Number 1 Canyon Road. And that's to the city Sage Hills Gateway property. Please do not park at the trail entrance, but park lower down at the junction of those two roads. The Day Drive access point, that trailhead might remain closed. That depends on the staffing at the city and their capability of actually opening that trailhead. The end of Maiden Lane, and then the bottom of Horse Lake Road where the pavement ends on that road there at the far north end of Wenatchee. The trails that are open are the main Sage Hills Trail, which you could use all the way from the south end at Number 1 Canyon Road to the Horse Lake Trailhead. Horse Lake Road is open to non-motorized recreation traffic, walking, running, biking, as it has been all winter. And then the Balsam Route Trail at the north end of the foothills is also open. What we are keeping closed at this point is all the trails that are at higher elevations at Horse Lake Reserve. So by name, that's Homestead Trail, Apricot Crest, Glacier View, and the Birds Trail, and then the Ranch Road system there. And we did put signs at the junctions there at the Horse Lake Trailhead and other trail junctions where appropriate. So we're hoping that those stay there and that people can abide by that just for a little while longer. And then we anticipate that some of those upper trails will be open as they dry out, for sure.
And of course, they asking people just common sense, respect private property. It should be noted that the trailhead at the top of Day Drive, the parking lot there is very small. And people have
4 cars only.
Yeah, people have a tendency to park wherever they want to. I want to touch on one more little item with you, Hannah, while I have you here, and I've seen this all the time. People go up with their dogs, the dogs are not on leashes, and the dogs don't know a trail from a non-trail, do they?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that has been an issue, not just this year, but always, and it's really hard to enforce. So we try, when our trail stewards are out on the trails, to do education and outreach. Hey, did you know that this is an area where your dog needs to be unleashed? But we're not out there doing that work right now. As I mentioned, we're considering our work managing the trails as a non-essential business at this point and trying to provide a good model and follow the model that's been set. But I will say also, your dog doesn't know social distancing, and so that could lead to you, if your dog's off leash and runs up to other people, then you're violating the guidelines that we've given for using the trail. So please, your dog is so excited that you're out with him and giving him way more exercise than maybe he normally gets because you're home. So he's not going to mind being on a leash.
The Sage Hills Trails is one of the crown jewels of the Wenatchee Valley and the Wenatchee foothills. And kudos to the city of Wenatchee and the Chelan County PUD and TRED and you folks at Chelan-Douglas Land Trust and the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife for making this happen. We're not going to have foothills full of houses and developments. We have the trails to enjoy, but please, common sense. Hanne, while I have you here, are there some specific websites that you would steer people to so they know the do's and don'ts during this early trail opening and the social distancing rules we're all trying to observe?
Absolutely. Our website, the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust website, is cdlandtrust.org. Wenatchee Valley TRED is another website that I would encourage people to look at, and look at these social media platforms as well. TRED is doing a lot of great work about posting, suggestions on how to get outside and stay within these guidelines that we've put up. So stay tuned as well, because those are where you're probably going to hear about whether trails are open even further, or if there's any restrictions placed by local governments on trailheads being open. So yeah, stay tuned to those two websites, and as always, keep an eye on what your health district and your local government officials are saying as well.
And I appreciate taking some time out. I know you're working at home and you're very, very busy, but I very much appreciate you taking some time out to fill us in on what we need to know on the opening of the Sage Hills Trails in the foothills of Wenatchee. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
Take care. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Yeah.
There he is. Sure wish he was here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Little 4-point. It's a nice coconut.
Solid fish.
Watch the Northwest Outdoorsman with Richie Herod Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and 4:30 p.m. on the NCW Life channel.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled into Wenatchee. We've got fun, affordable e-bikes for the whole family. Portable e-bikes that fit right in the trunk of your car. Fat tire mountain bikes plus unique vintage style bikes you won't find anywhere else. Get some exercise with pedal assist or just cruise up to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. Starting under $1,000, Green Motion e-bikes are affordable fun for the whole family. Green Motion e-bikes is located right downtown on the corner of Palouse and Wenatchee Avenue.
This is Caitlin Hedersheet, the producer of the NCW Life magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCW Life magazine right here on the NCW Life channel.
While it may be hard to resist those big brown eyes and pleading face, many people aren't aware that people food can be dangerous to pets. And it's not just because of the added weight gain. Some foods are downright dangerous, including chocolate. For a detailed list of dangerous foods, go online to pawsandclawsvh.com. If you suspect your pet has eaten something dangerous, please call Dr. Shauna Baez and her staff at 888-PAWS, as your pet's health is important to us.
Owner Andrew Vickery brings years of experience to help you transition your backyard into a place where memories are made, family time is looked forward to, and friends are always welcome. Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa offers many different styles and sizes of artesian spas, both new and used, as well as residential and commercial pool and spa services, regular maintenance and repairs, and all the chemicals required to keep your pool and spa crystal clear. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa today.
Exercise gets everybody to be the best version of themselves they can be. And that's what I see us doing. And a lot of people see gyms as selling memberships. We see ourselves as helping our members become exercise practitioners so that their life is better, their day-to-day is better. That's what we do.
And welcome back to this Thursday edition of Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz. Before we close out with the weather forecast, I want to touch base with some of the headlines that's making news on this Thursday morning, and that's sheriff's deputies saying a Malaga man stole 14 expensive heavy-duty batteries from a construction site, and then he offered to sell them online to an undercover police buyer. His name is Wade Ryan Hawkins, 28 years old, and he faces possible charges of theft, trespassing, and trafficking in stolen property. Now, the batteries, which were reported stolen Monday from a job site on Clockham Road, they're expensive. They can cost up to $260 a piece. Deputies say they made arrangements to buy 4 batteries from Hawkins for just $200, and then they arrested him Tuesday night after he allegedly made the sale in a Wenatchee parking lot. Other news this morning, an East Wenatchee woman arrested in a high-profile drug raid last year was sentenced to 20 months in prison. 22-year-old Naomi Lara had already spent 6 months behind bars since she was arrested back on September 4th. That's when the Columbia River Drug Task Force kicked down her door, found an estimated 50 grams of methamphetamine and an additional 20 grams of heroin. She pled guilty this week in Douglas County Superior Court to meth possession and keeping of property for drug purposes. Another man arrested in the raid, 27-year-old Jesus Morales Lozano, still awaits trial on similar charges. And the latest coronavirus casualties, state parks and Department of Natural Resource areas. Our very own Kyle Montgomery tells us more.
After shutting down its campgrounds over the weekend, the state has now closed all its parks and wildlife areas starting today. The closures were announced following Governor Jay Inslee's stay home, stay healthy order Monday evening in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. The closure includes all state-managed parks, wildlife areas, and water access for at least 2 weeks. Entrance gates will be closed and all services will be suspended. Essential staff will be on site to preserve and protect the sites. The State Department of Natural Resources followed suit today by announcing it's closing its public recreation lands starting Thursday. Lands Commissioner Hillary Franz said DNR staff last weekend saw their trails crowded shoulder to shoulder and there were several large gatherings. DNR manages 1,200 miles of trails and more than 160 recreational sites. Reporting with NCW Life, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
Thank you, Kyle. And one more item of business. You can add recreational fishing to the list of things you can't currently do. The Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife on yesterday temporarily closed all fishing and shell fishing. That began at midnight tonight. The closure is until at least 5 o'clock on April 8th. That's the latest closure announced by the state following Governor Jay Inslee's stay-at-home order in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. The department said crowds at boat launches and at some fishing sites led to the closure. And that's the latest coronavirus news as we have it. With a couple of minutes left, let's go ahead and take a look at that weather forecast one more time. Enjoy the sunshine this morning while you can, because things are going to change. There's a flat but unfortunately very short-lived upper ridge. Yesterday's trough came through and exited, and it was cold yesterday. We only had 45 degrees, 13 degrees below normal. But for today, sunshine for the most part until we get later on in the afternoon. Then the clouds will be thickening up. And so we'll top off at only 53 degrees. That is below normal. So again, there's lots of sunshine now. It is not going to last. Mostly cloudy tonight, 36 for the overnight low. It's going to be a little breezy today, by the way, and a little breezy tonight as well. Friday, lots of clouds, no precipitation in the forecast, just lots of clouds, and a high of about 56 degrees, 36 for the overnight low Friday night. Saturday, a mixture of clouds and sun. Can't rule out a raindrop on Saturday afternoon. A little bit warmer, high of about 58 or 59 on Saturday. Chance of rain on Saturday night, however, is right around 20%. We'll get down to about 40, 39 or 40 for the overnight low. Could wake up to a little bit of light rain on Sunday morning. Outside of that, again, the clouds and the sun will be doing a little bit of a tug of war on Sunday. We'll get up to around 57 degrees, they tell us. On Monday, lots of clouds. Best chance of measurable rain certainly going to be on Monday, most of that in the morning. If it happens, lots of clouds, high of about 58. Monday night's overnight low of about 38 or 39 with a chance of rain. Partly sunny Tuesday. Quite a bit of sunshine Wednesday if the computer models hold true. So, sunshine this morning, clouds this afternoon, and clouds all day on Friday, and then clouds and sun back and forth with a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind expected on Saturday and Sunday. Right now, the only pass that has a traction tire advisory is Stevens Pass. It's snowy lightly on Stevens Pass. There are no advisories, nor are there any restrictions on Snoqualmie or Blewett. All right, have a good and safe Thursday. We will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.